So they say that in real estate, you can go fast on your own, but to go far, you need other people. And one of my favorite other people, and a lady who has built a network, maybe even an army of other people, is good friend and colleague Deborah Razo, who is local here in Southern California, an EXP colleague, but more importantly, a real estate giant. So Deborah, great to catch up with you again.
Well, thank you, Bill. What a great introduction. A real estate giant.
Well, I didn't mean in size. I'm not telling you I'm overweight. I don't need to comment on your physical minutes, but your spiritual and your financial vision is certainly big.
I don't mind being a financial giant. That sounds actually wonderful. Quite compliment.
I know you're some big mucky muck with an organization that does great stuff for WREN. Tell me what do you do with WREN? I think you're the founder, but what do you do and what is WREN, Women's Real Estate Network?
It is the Women's Real Estate Network. The acronym is WREN, and just like the little bird wren, that's our logo. And we empower and encourage other women to become real estate investors. We're a networking organization primarily, but we do some education, and I think we're going to be increasing that education in the next year. And honestly, I'll be honest with you, it was founded.
No, lie to me, Deborah. Lie to me. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay, something like that. It was founded out of my own needs. I guess, like I think a lot of us are looking for communities, right? We're looking for communities that we identify with.
Yes.
I have had tremendous amount of education from men. There's nothing, I have no resentment, nothing about men that I don't like. But when I am in community with other women, it's different. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I was going through a really hard time in real estate. I'm a real estate investor myself. I started out as a flipper, and my whole investment philosophy was to flip for capital and then to reinvest that capital into buy and holds, my outcome being wanting cash flow. But I was having a really hard time. This was like 7-8 years ago, because there was all these, Wall Street money, all these family businesses that were coming in, and they were scooping up all my flips, and I couldn't get a deal. And I was like, where are my girls? I want my girls. And I ended up having a brunch and inviting a bunch of full-time women real estate investors to brunch. Now, not all of them are flippers. Some of them are storage units, some of them are note holders, everybody was from a different area, but we ended up talking, and we ended up giving each other resources. You need a foundation guy, I got a foundation guy. You need an attorney for tenants, I've got an attorney for tenants. And it became a resource, right? And we started meeting, and the next thing you know, I was feeling like there's all these women out there that don't even get to meet these women. Yep. Because it's not typical that women are in the front of the room at a typical investment club, right? It's usually men in the front of the room. It's been a male-dominated business for a while, but we're catching up. And so I ended up making up meetups with women at the front of the room that were full-time investors, so that we could be inspired by somebody we identify with in becoming, right? That's kind of what it was focused on, and that's what it is about. So it's been a wonderful journey, and we have a lot of members who do business together. Those original people that I met with, I've partnered with, I've lent on their deals, they've lent on my deals. We're financial friends, right? And I think that, you said something about, real estate is a team sport, but I think it's a team sport, but we have a hard time. I had a hard time, I'll just say it that way, not being a lone wolf. I got into the business, I was a lone wolf, I do my own transactions, and then to open up and become more of a team sport, it's a different set of skills, but it's also a different set of benefits,
Well, I think that's the benefit of being in a group is, I don't know your particular cadence, but most groups have a weekly or monthly or quarterly event. It kind of forces you to get out of your office weekly, monthly, or quarterly. I host 2 events a month. It forces me to get out of my office those 2 days a month. I co-sponsor a 3rd event. So at least 3 days a month, I'm out meeting people, and it kind of forces that. And I think that's the part of the process. And, having raised a daughter, I've seen how her mentorship and camaraderie in her business and her career as she's grown, there have been women. And I don't think it was because she's not against men. I'm her father and she's married to a man. But I just think that there's a certain ease of communication with somebody who's more like you. And that just is more likely to be a woman if you're a woman. So let's talk about some of the specific events you guys do. I know a lot of women in REN. I know when you guys have events because it's like electric. Everybody's talking about come to the event. I went to the event. What does it look like to participate for somebody who's interested in joining that community?
Sure. We have monthly online meetings. We used to have monthly in-person meetings pre-COVID, and then we went all online. So we have monthly online meetings mainly because our membership is national, right? So that everybody can come together at the online meetings and we can talk to each other and converse. And our monthly online meetings usually feature a woman in a specific business model. So we might have somebody who's doing storage units or, who's doing creative financing, right? Wholesaling, that kind of thing. So, and they're talking to us about their business model. We also feature people who are associated with us. In other words, I think our last meeting featured an accountant that was specifically geared towards real estate, and Lord knows, we're coming up on those tax deadlines here. So, and, doing some tax things. So getting some really good, solid business senses, from people. And then we're doing 2 to 3 times a year, we're gathering in person. And
Wow.
it's usually about a particular event, so we've done an ADU event, let's say. Earlier this year, we did an event in Phoenix called SOAR for women who've gone big. We're talking about women who own multiple apartment complexes, hotels, multiple storage units. It's a whole different level, right? When you're dealing with those kind of transactions. So, we're doing, and then we've also held events in Puerto Rico. I'm actually an investor in Puerto Rico. I have a bed and breakfast there that we just opened this past couple months ago. Wow. And there's a lot of tax advantages to Puerto Rico, and we've done events to educate people on how to safely get into transactions there. Wow. So it's been varied. I think we're, I don't know, COVID's over, I think, right? COVID's over, right?
It was over a while ago, just FYI.
Okay. So we're going to actually start getting a little more in person now.
But you know what? You say that, it's tough to get people out. I'm telling you, COVID might be over in your head, my head, but there's something about not going out that people are comfortable with to their detriment. And I think those of us who've been around a little longer, I'm way older than you are, but I know you've been around the business for a while, that, it was natural to go out and meet people. There are people who grew up and never went out to meetings, and they don't understand the value of that and how important that is to get out in person. So I'd urge anybody who is a woman, or if you want to identify as a woman, I could sneak in with a wig, maybe, put in some lipstick. It's not my thing, but it might be worth it to go to a REN event, get to the REN event and get involved with Deborah and her group. And I think it's definitely worthwhile. If somebody's interested in learning more about REN, what's the best way to do that?
Oh yeah, you could go to www.reninspires, WREN inspires.com. And that's our, you can catch us on Instagram, catch us on Facebook. It's all about REN Inspires. Oh, look, there you go.
There's a good looking lady. They're a little eye candy on the website.
Yeah. And, well, there it says REN means you're part of an unstoppable force of women, business, real estate thinkers.
Wow.
We actually, kind of coined a phrase that we have infinite heart and, real estate business badassery, because that's,
whoa,
it's more of a feminine twist on, how we do business and making other people wealthy and helping to improve their net worth as well as their self-worth is part of our mission.
Fantastic. And then separate from all that, you're a real estate broker here in Burbank, California. Tell me about your business. What's a brief summary of how your approach is to real estate?
Okay, so my approach to real estate is kind of interesting in how I got my agent's license. So I have been a flipper. Like I just said, my business model was flipping and then reinvesting the profits into buy and hold. And at one point, I guess it was like four years ago, maybe 5 years ago, I'm sitting with my accountant and my accountant was like, do you realize how much money you're leaving on the table but not representing yourself? And we did the calculations and I was like, oh, I better get my license, and so I ended up getting my license. So I started by just primarily representing myself in the flips that I do here in Los Angeles. But then, friends and family and your network, so now I actually represent other people as well. And it's been wonderful. And I'll be honest with you, I respect this industry a lot. So much so that when I do business outside of my territory, which I consider Burbank, Los Angeles, San Fernando Valley, my territory, you know, I had a project that was up in Cambria. I use a specialist in Cambria, right? Because this is the truth. Real estate is local, and so are agents.
Yeah.
Agents are local. They know where the good street is and where the bad street is, and they
Yeah.
know, you know, they have specific knowledge on who's looking for what kind of place, you know, what's going to sell in that market. And I very much trust that knowledge by utilizing other people when I'm not the expert in that area. And so, yeah, that's what I do.
Fantastic. Deborah, we'll put in the notes here, WRENinspires.com, WREN, like the bird, inspires.com. And Deborah Razo, thank you so much as always for your leadership and
You know
your.
what, Bill, I just want to also say one more thing. If you're a guy and you're in this industry and you want to connect with me, you can go to DeborahRazo.com as well. So, you know, I'm not
for real estate investment, not for, they just want to meet. You're not a dating service, or you're not offering yourself.
I'm married, Bill.
Okay.
I'm married.
Oh, yeah, the ring's cheap. That doesn't mean you're married. So, okay, good. Got that. Okay, so DeborahRazo.com if you want to talk about real estate investment or selling your property in the Burbank, LA area. Deborah, thank you so much for your time today. As always, a pleasure, and we'll talk soon.
Great. Thank you so much, Bill.